Well, I'm at it again. So I got a hold of a FamicomBox, and as you can see, it's really not in good shape. This whole corner has been busted out. Part of it's busted out up here, but I was really under the impression that this was going to be kind of another M82 series of videos until I talked to Kevtris. Kevtris has actually reverse engineered one of these, and he says the whole control of it is cartridge based. There's like another cartridge inside, I guess. I don't know. But it's not going to be one of those things where we can just replace the ASIC and make it work better. And I've also read that this one uses a whole different pinout for the cartridges. Like the lockout chip is completely different, and it uses different pins on the carts. So you can't stick cartridges in, regular release cartridges into this and make them work. I'd love to be able to change that. I don't know if it's possible yet, but it does have 10 carts in it, and what I traded for was not all 10 carts. So the reason I'm even starting this video for this particular console is because I need to open it up and get half of those cartridges out of there, because only 5 of them are staying with me, or staying with the FamicomBox, and the rest are going back with the original owner, because there are games that he didn't have and he's trying to get the full set or whatever. I think there was 20 or so of them, I don't remember. There are 2 versions of it, and Nintendo did one and Sharp did one, I guess. And Sharp's cartridges are gray and Nintendo's are black. And of course these are black, so this is a Nintendo one. And I don't know that there is a lot of differences between them. This is really only made for hotel usage in Japan. A lot of, you see there's locks up here for getting to the cartridges, and there's supposed to be access to master lock here, where I think you can maybe not only turn it on but turn it to free or paid gameplay. And then there was a actual coin accepting box over here, and that's how you played games. And I can't remember, it was like 10 yen or 100 yen. I think it was 100 yen, but I don't remember if what kind of duration that had or anything like that. There's a holder over here for 2 box controllers and a zapper. Now these are the US ones. That's what's really weird about this, is they actually had the regular square Nintendo controller and a US zapper attached to this. And right here is where they went in. Whoever broke this or whatever just cut them off, but that's right where they go in, and you can see right in there, it has a regular connector on it, like our normal controllers use. So that's going to be real easy to fix that part of it. However, getting a new fascia plate up here, I really don't have much hope for that. So I might just fix it up best I can, get it going, and see if anybody wants to buy it. I have heard that you can play these games in a US top loader, since the top loader does not have any lockout circuitry in it. But the reverse is not true. I don't think you can put regular Nintendo cartridges. They are the same size and 72 pin as our US games. They look just like this, except they're black and they have the Japanese yellow label on them. So that's really cool. It makes them very, very rare and very collectible. But unfortunately, I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot that I can do with this thing, other than just fix it and get it going. Maybe an RGB mod. I'm not totally positive about that yet either. So unfortunately, this is not going to be the typical series where I show you how it works, because I actually have to get this thing torn apart to fix it, to make it work first. And I'm hoping that I don't have to pick these locks. I'm hoping I can just somehow remove the top shell and then get it away from this lock. I don't really want to break it any more than it already is, but I may not have a choice. And obviously I want to replace those locks with something that I have a key for, or that don't need a key, and same with the main switch there. So I think I'm just going to dig in and try to get this thing apart. Well, I've already run into my first problem. It's got security bits on it, but they're bigger than anything I have. Okay, this is cartridge, and that's console, which was a, what, four and a half, I don't remember what it was, but it's bigger than that even. I didn't even know they made security bits that big. So, I might have to double back on this one and see about getting another bit or something. Well, let's have a look around the rest of it. If I'm looking at this right, it does look like you could actually pop that off there. I doubt that the lever on the lock does anything more than have a flat spot coming up behind this top panel's little tab right here. So it does look like if I could get those screws off and just lift it up, that this thing could fall forward. And that's a good thing. I'm really curious what that says. If anybody reads Japanese, it's got a telephone number. Maybe that's the hotel it's from. I don't know. And this is where the coin box would mount. I guess that's super, super rare. And on the back we have a bunch of stuff going on here. I'm not sure what this port is for, but that looks very dirty, almost burnt. Whatever slid in here, I don't know if that was a power supply. I wouldn't think so. It locked in a little bit there and was interchangeable or whatever. I really don't know what that was for. I'd have to look at that a little harder. There's a DC in. There's a bunch of dip switches here. And let's see, what does that say? 1 5P and 2 5P expand. And that says Cat V interface. What's weird is that we have an antenna in and RF out, composite and mono audio out, and a channel 1, channel 2 switch, which is typical for Japanese RF, I guess. I'm assuming that's going to be the expansion port. Very, very interesting. Of course, there's your close-up of your zapper and controller holder. Well, I'm not in love with this idea, but I really don't want to wait for a security bit to come here, and I haven't even looked for it yet. I don't even know if I could actually get the security bit for this, but it is very accessible, and I think if I got my crimpers on there just right, I can loosen them and then take them the rest of the way by hand, hopefully. I really, really do want to get into this thing soon. Yeah, they're really not that tight, and that's a good thing for me. So I don't need to put a lot of force on them to get them to loosen. Looks like there's at least 3 on the back I need to loosen as well. Get the rest of these off camera. If you're at all interested in these pliers, they are Nipix brand. Can't really read that anymore. Unfortunately, I've used these for a lot more than just electrical work, so there's a lot of rust and corrosion on there that has nothing to do with what these things were intended for. But they are awesome cutters. A lot of leverage up here. They're not flush or anything, flush cutters or anything like that. But the main purpose is for crimping, like your butt connectors and stuff like that. Let's see if I've got one here. Alright, so this is the kind of connector I'm talking about using these for. It's just a spade terminal. It did have the insulation on it. These aren't the same, but whatever. And I guess I could put it on a piece of wire too. I'll give you a shot of my strippers real quick too. I talked about those before. But basically, we're looking to put the connector right down in that valley and push that in there and smash it like that. You can also use this downward part to smash it even further. And they give you that factory look. I've seen that before. You'll see that a lot if you really open up pin terminals and stuff like that. They look like that. The alternative is these pieces of shit. I do not recommend these, but unfortunately that's what most hobbyists have and use because of the convenience of having the crimping and the stripping. And basically you're just going to go by gauge of wire there, and then all you can do is really just crush it like that, and it just kind of flattens it. It doesn't really crimp it hard enough. And if you're lucky, you can crimp it a couple ways. I'm not saying it ain't gonna hold, but it's just not nearly as awesome as using the Knipex, using a proper tool for the job. In fact, I could probably pull those off a little easier. That's pretty damn tight. Watch this one come right off. No, that ain't going nowhere. But these are really awful for stripping too, especially because they like move. You don't get a nice flush cut on the wire, and you can't tighten those things either. I don't know. I really hate these things. Ever since I've upgraded to these tools, I have never looked back. Alright, so after loosening them, I can pretty much run them out by finger, and the back ones just need to be loose because they're just slotted up here. So, hoping that don't look good. Oh, those are really in there. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that on this side without really busting some plastic. I really don't want to break these any further than they already are. Starting to suspect these are supposed to slide. This whole top piece is supposed to slide off the back or something. Maybe one of my screws is not slotted. Nope, it is. Something here catching. I think it's just my front lip here is catching. I don't know, I just feel like something in the back is catching. Oh. I guess it was just rubbing really hard right there. Well, it's not exactly what I was going for, but it might give me access to the games anyway. Definitely have access, but getting off the locks still proving to be a little problematic here. Well, what I can see is they do have a big nut on the back, and that might, I don't know, that might loosen it enough. Oh yeah, there is looks like a little hex head bolt right on top. Looks like right on top of it, there's a little hex head bolt right there that I might be able to loosen on both of them. And then that tab would come off, looks like, maybe. I'm not sure yet, but it's worth a shot. If not, it also looks like there is a nut on the bottom side, and maybe that will loosen it too. Anyway, we have a couple things to try. Or I guess I also have, I can just take the hinges off from the inside. That'd be better for now anyway. There we go. Hinges just bolted to the plastic here and here. Obviously there was another one up here, and it's still half there, I guess, the hinges. The bolts are still in it, so is the plastic that it broke off with. Very, very dirty. As to be expected, I'm sure, since it's probably never been apart. Oh my God! Let's see. Holy epic. Look at the size of this thing. Oh my God. That is amazing. Woo! Godfather dust bunny right there. Holy hell. And unfortunately, the inside of it is not much better throughout the rest of it. Oh, here's the cartridge, I believe, yeah, that he was talking about. It looks like it, I see a PPU, RP2CO2, and CPU. Both of them are socketed. Look like very nice sockets, but it's weird that the RGB PPU has a heat sink a lot like the RGB PPUs, except the RGB PPUs are RP2CO3, and the regular composite PPUs are 2CO2, like that, regular 2CO2. So I don't know why there's a giant heatsink on that one when they don't put them on there on the regular consoles. So yeah, that kind of sucks that the whole thing is controlled with a cartridge and not an ASIC. I'm still curious what was going in there. I'll have to look that up. I still got more dust bunnies. Little baby one. And another one. God, that's gross. It's all up in here. Which there are giant vents on the top of it, so it's no wonder that they're there, but gross. All the cartridges are very gross. I guess I could take those out and clean them up and test them. I'll have to look up to see what's what. They're kind of faded on the front, looks like, too, some of them. You see the epic dust layer. I mean, that's perfectly clean down here. Ugh, super disgusting. Well, I guess luckily the ones under that aren't as bad. So there's no English on any of these. I'm getting broken pieces of plastic out of them. From trying to pull it out of the cartridge connector is so tight, you're actually pulling the PCB out of the shell of the cart. And a lot of them are brittle right in there, and not enough gusseting. Seems like almost all of them are. Of course, they may have been broken for years. Doesn't look like they've been changed out in a long time, that's for sure. I hope I didn't cause that, but they have to come out. This thing's got to get cleaned. So yeah, we can at least set those aside and test them on the top loader, hopefully. A little better view of there's the PPU right here, the CPU socketed, and there's the cartridge that's controlling it. What I don't see is a power supply. I wonder if this is supposed to be where the power supply goes. I mean, it's got a DC in. Maybe it just had a really, really huge wall wart? I don't know. There's no dust bunnies, but it's certainly dirty as hell up here. It's kind of cool. We got slots for, what, 15 games? And there's our 3 controller ports. It's like a power LED. It almost looks broken. I wonder if it is. And what was that? TV, game, and something else. I don't remember. It wasn't power. I think the power was mostly in this keyed switch. I have to end up changing that out somehow. No idea. Oh, I bet that's for the coin. Makes sense somehow. Very cool. Very freaking dirty. Well, it looks like if I remove the 3 bottom screws and 2 on each side, But this whole back panel will come up out of here, and then I have the ribbon cable for all the TV stuff. It came off real easy. Looks like there might be another couple connectors, yeah, down to the motherboard there. But what it looks like is I might be able to take this rear panel up and out, and then the whole huge motherboard will just slide out the back. That's way easier than the M82. Alright, so those 7 screws are out. This corner over here is kind of bent as shit, so get a little bit of a fit coming out of there. Of course, there's our giant ribbon cable that connected right here, and then this connected to a connector on the motherboard. But then it just looks like there's even levers on there to help you pull it out. I feel like I'm going to break the levers. Well, there's screws on it first, maybe. Get those out of the way. Does not appear to be screwed down. But it's probably also never been out before. Might have to give it a helping hand here. Well, I don't think it's stuck to the vertical board. Seems like it's stuck in these blue runners, maybe? Well, it's fighting me, but I think it's... There it goes. Just scared of it, that's all. Ground wire or two here. Let's put those screws right back in there. So there's our super dirty ass main board. There's even some kind of Nintendo branded tamper tape on there. Interesting. I mean, I'm gonna have to take them off there because I want to get in there and clean that, but a couple bodge wires right there. Oh, that's weird. They actually diagonally cut the fingers to help with insertion. Cool. These fingers will look very tarnished. Maybe not enough to cause problems, but definitely makes me want to clean it. 2200 microfarad 10 volt cap up here, so I'm curious. It looks like maybe we're just feeding 5 volts to this whole board. It makes sense, but anyway, looks like the vertical board will come out Oh my god. That's almost as big as the other big one. There's another one. Ugh. So gross. There's some Japanese dust up in here, yeah. What do we got? Looks like maybe take out the two bolts at the top to get the vertical board to slide out. Might be all that's needed. Seems like the M82 is similarly constructed. Well, no. Looks like we have a bunch of screws along the front here. Down the bottom of each cartridge port set. Will that do it? Yes, it does. Looks like all the LED wires are connected down to that board. They are removable, so that's good. So I can get all this junk off so I can get to the actual cartridge ports to clean those as well. Which means I'll have to take off all of these screws on the back. That's pretty typical. I was relieved to see that this area of the LEDs and controller port was not messed up when that corner was damaged. That would have been impossible. Just might as well just not even bother trying to fix it. So those are the coolest wire loom holders I've ever seen. I love that. Maybe you can get that in frame, yeah. So just hit this tab and it just comes out like nothing. You pull over here, it's nice and tight. That's it. I love that thing. Where do I get more? This looks a lot like the power reset connector out of the front loader. Oh my god, it's yeah, it's identical. Other than different buttons up here, and of course this is not power and they're both momentary. So I guess one of them, let's see, reset, was it? Yeah. This one did TV game and this one did reset. That's interesting. Let's save those grommets. Oh, that is fabulous. There's that last hinge with plastic seal on it, broken. It's weird that all this is separated. I wonder why they did that. This makes it easier to bend. Well, other than cleaning, I think I'm pretty much done with teardown. I'll come back later with this if we actually get it running again. Well, one thing's for sure, with this amount of dust, I'm definitely not going to just go over and soak this in degreaser and rinse it. I'm first going to take it out to the garage and blow it off with some compressed air. And I'll definitely be sure to try to ground it, just because, you know, my air compressor is just a garage air compressor. It's not anti-static or anything like that. ESD safe, so plus it probably is going to spit out some water and oil in the air, so I'll definitely have to soak in degreaser and rinse it after I do that. But that is just an insane amount of dust and dirt on there. One thing I didn't notice before is it does have a year on it, 1987. Like what, 27 years worth of dust and dirt on here? Oh my. Alright, so I found the right size bit for the top of those locking tabs. And yes, in fact, it does separate them. That is most excellent. Reverse that, put it back on there. Cool. Okay, now that I've got everything apart, I think I can get everything out to the garage and blow it off and then start cleaning. Alright, well everything's soaking to be cleaned. Guess I could go ahead and try these cartridges before I take them apart to clean them. Baseball. Got me, I have no idea what that is. I'm also wondering if those boards are a little thicker than normal. They go down into this one pretty tightly. Super Mario Brothers. Regular Mario Brothers. Donkey Kong. Duck Hunt. Wild Gunman. Wrecking Crew. I'm betting that's one of the more popular ones. Golf. One of the least popular ones, I'm sure. And tennis. Cool, well, they all work. Let's clean them up. Alright, so it's all clean. Took forever. Came apart very much like the M82, so really nothing new to show. Having a little bit of trouble getting the back panel down on there because of this bent up parts back here. It has to go behind these 3 tabs for the holes, but it also has a tab up behind it to keep it locked in from the back as well. And because of all this bent metal over here, having a little bit more difficult time with it. And I have been researching it a little bit, and I found that yes, in fact, the power pack AC adapter, I guess you would call it, what it says on the back of it, does slide in right there, making it really, really easy to replace. I think that's pretty awesome. And then it just has a DC output that plugs in to that DC in. So it's just 5 volt, 5 amp power supply. That's pretty cool. So it should be fairly easy to power this thing, much like I did with the M82 power supply. Although I really would like to track down one, even if it doesn't work, just to put it in there and modify it so that it does work, or just make it look original is all I'm really looking for there. What else? The coin slot covers, the coin mechanism, whatever you want to call it, that usually sits over here. Apparently these covers are pretty hard to come by. So that means there is almost guaranteed that this was never a coin operated unit and was always in free play or whatever. I think that's pretty cool. Kevtris has a really good 7 or 8 page of his website is dedicated to all the work he did on his Famicom box. So I learned a lot of that stuff there. What else? Oh, there is a ton of information on the dip switch back here for several different settings that Kevtris reverse engineered and figured out what does what. So I might definitely look at those and make sure, like I know 7 and 8 needed to be on for some. There was a couple settings in there that were pretty desirable for changing. I can't remember what they were right offhand. It's really late right now. I'm going brain dead all of a sudden. But yeah, I think I'm close to the point where I'm going to be able to figure out how to power it and actually get it back to the point where I can actually test it and make sure that it actually does work. Okay, so it's in. I had to bend those metal pieces back to closer to factory. But definitely one of the things I want to do is to get rid of these security screws. I just don't think I'm going to find that bit. It's pretty awesome. Definitely keepers, but just for general usability, I think I'm going to change these out for some, probably just Phillips head, something easy to get a hold of. That's crazy. I've never seen anything like that. Pretty interesting.